They stole his idea, claimed it as the company's greatest innovation. And when he tried to speak up, they made sure he was the one who disappeared. But 1 year later, the same company faced a harsh reality. The man they underestimated had become their most dangerous competitor. And this time, he wasn't asking for permission.
Adrian Walker wasn't a founder. He wasn't a partner. He was just a senior systems architect at a fast-growing Silicon Valley startup, the kind with glass walls, venture capital backing, and a CEO who loved the spotlight. For 3 years, Adrian built systems that scaled quietly in the background. But in the privacy of his apartment in Palo Alto, he built something else. A platform architecture that could cut operational costs by nearly 40% and position the company for global expansion. He didn't want credit. He just wanted the chance to present it. What he didn't know was that the moment he did, everything would change.
The conference room was all glass. Glass walls, glass table, even the whiteboard panels looked expensive. From the 17th floor, the Palo Alto skyline stretched under a pale California morning. Venture capital logos framed the hallway outside like trophies. Adrian Walker adjusted the cable connected to his laptop. Across the table sat the executive team of Neurodyne AI, one of the fastest-growing machine learning startups in the Valley. At the head of the table sat CEO Nathan Caldwell, polished, confident, the kind of man who had already done 2 podcasts before 9 a.m. "You've got 20 minutes, Adrian," Nathan said, checking his smartwatch. "Make it disruptive." A faint smile around the table. Adrian nodded. He clicked to the first slide. Project Helix, a self-optimizing AI deployment architecture that reduces inference costs by dynamically restructuring model layers in real time. The room shifted. CTO Melissa Grant leaned forward. "You're talking about adaptive compression during live production." "Yes," Adrian replied calmly, "without sacrificing performance metrics." Slide after slide, he explained. Helix wasn't just optimization, it was infrastructure evolution. If implemented, Neurodyne wouldn't just lower costs, they could undercut competitors and scale twice as fast internationally. 40% operational reduction within 12 months. Even Nathan stopped checking his watch. "And this is production ready?" he asked. "We'd need a 6-week integration sprint, but the prototype already passed internal stress simulations." Silence. Then Nathan leaned back. "It's ambitious." Adrian waited. "But we're focused on expansion right now. Investors want visible growth, not back-end restructuring." "This is growth," argued Adrian carefully. "If we deploy Helix before scaling into Europe, we increase margins dramatically." Nathan smiled. It wasn't warm. "It's a strong internal concept," he said. "Let's park it for now." Park it. The meeting ended 10 minutes early. No approval, no rejection, just shelving. 3 weeks later, the entire company gathered in the main event space. Lights dimmed, music pulsed. A giant screen displayed Neurodyne Next, global announcement. Adrian stood near the back. Nathan walked onto the stage to applause. "Today," he began, "we unveil the most advanced adaptive AI deployment system in our company's history." Adrian froze. The screen lit up with animated diagrams, layer restructuring, real-time compression, dynamic inference scaling. Different branding, different name, but it was Helix. Every core mechanic, every framework logic, even the cost reduction projections. The crowd erupted. Employees cheered. Investors in the front row nodded approvingly. Nathan raised his hands modestly. "Our engineering leadership has been working tirelessly on this breakthrough." Engineering leadership. Adrian felt the air leave his lungs. After the presentation, he waited near the side corridor leading to the executive offices. Nathan stepped down from the stage,
surrounded by handshakes and congratulations. When the hallway cleared, Adrian approached him. "Can we talk?" Nathan paused. "Make it quick." "That architecture," Adrian said, keeping his voice controlled, "that was Project Helix." Nathan tilted his head slightly. "And?" "It's my framework, my prototype." His expression didn't change. "You presented an internal idea. Everything developed inside Neurodyne belongs to Neurodyne. You shelved it. We refined it." Adrian's jaw tightened. "Without me." Nathan's smile returned, thinner this time. "Don't be naive, Adrian. You're a senior systems architect, not a founder, not a visionary. Your job is to build what the company needs. And this wasn't needed? It was repackaged properly. A beat. Be careful," Nathan added quietly. "You don't want to position yourself as difficult right now." Difficult. In Silicon Valley, that word was poison. Adrian stood there as Nathan walked away, already on a call with someone from Sequoia Capital. That night, Adrian opened his laptop in his small Palo Alto apartment. He pulled up the original Helix files, creation timestamps, prototype logs, simulation reports, everything dated months before today's announcement. Proof. On his phone, Slack notifications kept popping up. "Massive launch! Helix 2.0 is insane!" Helix 2.0. They hadn't even changed the internal code name much. Adrian stared at the glowing screen. If they understood Helix the way he did, it would work. But if they didn't, they had just scaled something they didn't fully control. And that kind of mistake in AI infrastructure didn't fail quietly. It collapsed loudly. Adrian closed the laptop slowly. They thought they had taken his idea. What they didn't realize was this: they had only taken version 1.
The email arrived at 8:12 a.m. Subject: HR review. Immediate attendance required. Adrian read it twice. Mandatory meeting, conference room C, 9 a.m. He barely had time to pour his coffee before Slack notifications started flashing. Did you see the internal metrics? Helix 2.0 latency spike overnight. EU beta cluster unstable. Adrian's jaw tightened. He opened the internal dashboard. Inference costs were fluctuating wildly. Adaptive compression layers were misfiring under heavy multilingual traffic. Exactly the vulnerability he had flagged in his original documentation. They had deployed it too aggressively, without finishing the failsafe patch, without him. At 9 a.m., he walked into conference room C. Inside sat HR Director Lauren Mitchell and CTO Melissa Grant. No Nathan. Lauren offered a professional smile. "Thanks for coming, Adrian." Melissa didn't meet his eyes. "We've received reports," Lauren began carefully, "that you've been raising concerns about Project Helix 2.0 in ways that could be interpreted as disruptive." "Disruptive?" Adrian repeated. "You've privately messaged engineers suggesting the architecture isn't stable," Melissa added. "Because it isn't. You skipped the adaptive guardrails." Melissa stiffened. "We made strategic adjustments. You removed the multilingual stress buffers. We optimized for launch." Adrian leaned forward. "You optimized for headlines." The air shifted. Lauren clasped her hands together. "Adrian, this is exactly what we mean. Your tone." "My tone?" His voice lowered, steadier now. "The EU cluster is showing a 12% degradation in response time. That compounds. Investors won't care about headlines when enterprise clients start pulling contracts." Melissa finally looked at him. "You're overstepping. I built the framework. You contributed," she corrected. The word hung in the air like a verdict. Lauren slid a printed document across the table. "We're placing you on a formal performance review effective immediately." Adrian didn't touch the paper.
On what grounds? Failure to align with leadership direction, creating instability within engineering teams, undermining executive decisions. He let out a quiet breath. So raising legitimate technical risks is undermining? Melissa's voice turned colder. You don't get to claim ownership over company property and then question deployment strategy after leadership makes a decision. It's not about ownership, it's about integrity. Integrity? Melissa repeated. Or ego? That one landed. Adrian stood slowly. If Helix collapses under scale, he said, looking at both of them, it won't be my ego on the line. Lauren's smile faded slightly. We suggest you focus on your assigned tasks, leave strategic decisions to leadership.
By afternoon, access permissions began changing, one by one. Restricted repository access, limited deployment logs, removed from Helix 2.0 Slack channel. Adrian stared at the notification. You no longer have permission to view this workspace. That wasn't subtle. He walked past the glass-walled executive offices on his way out that evening. Inside, Nathan was laughing with two venture partners. On the screen behind them, a growth projection chart climbed upward in confident blue lines. No mention of latency spikes, no mention of instability, just valuation. Back at his desk, Adrian opened his private backup drive. He had copied everything months ago. Prototype builds, simulation models, documentation drafts. Not because he expected betrayal, because good engineers documented everything. His phone buzzed again. An internal email blast. Helix 2.0 secures $40 million strategic expansion round. $40 million. Built on his architecture. Built on something they didn't fully understand. Another Slack message slipped through before his access was fully cut. From a junior engineer. Hey, did you really design the original Helix framework? Adrian stared at the message. He typed back carefully. Yes. 3 dots appeared, then stopped. A minute later, another notification flashed. Your Slack account has been temporarily suspended pending review. He leaned back in his chair. They weren't just sidelining him, they were isolating him, controlling the narrative before he could. That evening, as he packed his laptop into his bag, security was waiting near the elevator. Not aggressive, just present. A silent message. As the doors closed, Adrian caught his reflection in the mirrored wall. 3 years of building systems, months of perfecting Helix, weeks of watching it being rebranded. And now, he wasn't just being erased, he was being positioned as the problem. Outside, the California air felt colder than it should. His phone buzzed one more time, a calendar notification. Follow-up HR decision tomorrow, 10 a.m. He didn't need to guess what that meant. Up in the 17th floor glass office, Neurodyne AI was celebrating global expansion. Down in the parking garage, Adrian realized something far more dangerous. They thought removing him would secure their control over Helix. But Helix wasn't just code, it was architecture. And architecture has weaknesses. Weaknesses only the original designer truly understands. Tomorrow, they would decide his future at Neurodyne. What they didn't realize was that they had just decided their own. The termination meeting lasted 11 minutes. Lauren from HR spoke gently, too gently. After reviewing internal concerns, we've decided to move forward without your role at Neurodyne AI. Without your role. Not your employment, your role. As if he were a misplaced feature. Nathan didn't attend. Of course he didn't. They offered 3 months severance in exchange for a standard separation agreement, including a reinforced intellectual property clause. Melissa slid the document across the table. You understand that all derivatives of Project Helix belong to Neurodyne. Adrian read the line twice. All work created during your employment remains the sole property of the company. He looked up. And if the architecture collapses? Melissa's expression didn't change. It won't. He signed nothing. I'll have my attorney review it, he said calmly. Lauren's smile tightened. By 10:23 a.m., his badge was deactivated. By 10:41, security escorted him out of the building. Not aggressively, just professionally. In Silicon Valley, reputations didn't get destroyed loudly. They got managed. 2 weeks later, the headlines were still glowing. Neurodyne AI expands to Europe. Helix 2.0 revolutionizes adaptive AI deployment. $40 million strategic growth round closed. Adrian watched it all from his one-bedroom apartment in Mountain View. His inbox, however, was quiet. Too quiet. 3 interviews, 2 polite rejections, 1 uncomfortable pause after a recruiter asked, "Why did you leave Neurodyne during a major expansion?" The narrative had already been shaped. Difficult engineer, didn't align with leadership, not a team player. Silicon Valley moved fast, and it remembered whispers. On the 23rd day after his termination, the first crack appeared. A tech blog posted a short piece. Enterprise client reports performance instability in Neurodyne rollout. Minor latency spikes, localized, nothing catastrophic. But Adrian knew better. He opened his old simulation logs. Multilingual load stress, cross-region scaling, layer restructuring under unpredictable traffic bursts. Helix was brilliant, but only if the guardrails were intact, and they had removed them. That night, he reopened the full architecture, not Neurodyne's version, his original framework. He stared at the code for hours. He didn't feel angry anymore. Anger was noisy. This felt colder, focused. He began rewriting, not patching, rebuilding. Helix had been built to optimize cost efficiency. Now he redesigned it for resilience first. Fail-safe overrides, dynamic buffer allocation, auto-correction layers. He stripped away shortcuts he had once accepted to meet corporate deadlines. This version wasn't built for investor decks. It was built to survive scale.
3 months later, the savings were nearly gone. His severance was down to its last stretch. Rent in Mountain View wasn't forgiving. He freelanced quietly, back-end optimization for small SaaS firms, infrastructure audits for early-stage founders. Small money, but enough to keep the lights on. One evening, while reviewing logs for a tiny healthcare AI startup, the founder asked casually over Zoom, "Have you ever built large-scale adaptive infrastructure before?" Adrian paused. "Yes." "How large?" "Global enterprise ready." The founder laughed lightly. "You don't look like someone unemployed." "I'm not unemployed," Adrian replied calmly. "I'm between architectures." That answer earned silence, then interest. The instability reports about Neurodyne began appearing more frequently. Nothing explosive, just consistent friction, latency in Europe, unexpected cost spikes in Asia-Pacific clusters, enterprise clients requesting clarification, still controlled, still manageable, but trending. Adrian never commented publicly. He never posted on LinkedIn. He never corrected the narrative. He simply kept building. Version after version, testing at 3 a.m., breaking his own system on purpose, making it stronger. He renamed the project quietly, not Helix. That name belonged to them now. This one was different, cleaner, more dangerous. He called it Axiom, because unlike Helix, Axiom wouldn't rely on executive interpretation. It would rely on mathematical certainty. One night, after running a full-scale stress simulation across a cloud-borrowed environment, the results stabilized perfectly. No degradation under multilingual load, no runaway inference costs, no structural instability. He leaned back in his chair, exhausted. For the first time since the glass conference room, since the launch, since the escort to the elevator, he smiled. Neurodyne thought they had taken his leverage, but what they really took was version 1. Axiom wasn't a reaction, it wasn't revenge, it was evolution. And in Silicon Valley, evolution always wins.
The first client didn't come from a pitch deck. It came from frustration. The founder of the small healthcare AI startup Adrian had freelanced for sent him a short message. Our cloud costs doubled after integrating a third-party adaptive model. Is there any chance your architecture could handle live patient data scaling? Adrian stared at the message. Axiom wasn't built for demos anymore. It was built for reality. Yes, he replied, but I don't license prototypes. A pause. Then, what do you license? Adrian didn't hesitate. A company. 2 months later, Axiom Systems was incorporated quietly in Delaware. No launch party, no flashy press release, no LinkedIn announcement. Just a product. Adrian didn't chase investors. He chased performance metrics. He structured Axiom as a modular AI infrastructure layer, compatible with existing machine learning pipelines without requiring full system replacement. Translation? Companies frustrated with unstable scaling wouldn't need to rebuild, they could switch. The healthcare startup became Client 1. Within 6 weeks, their inference costs dropped by 38%. More importantly, zero instability under cross-regional load. Word spread the way it always does in Silicon Valley, not through marketing, through founders texting other founders. Meanwhile, Neurodyne was growing louder. Billboards near Highway 101, conference panels, Nathan Caldwell on a tech podcast declaring Helix 2.0 is redefined adaptive AI infrastructure. But behind the scenes, enterprise complaints were rising. Nothing catastrophic, just persistent friction, the kind that erodes trust slowly. One afternoon, Adrian received an unexpected email from a former Neurodyne engineer. Subject, off the record. They met at a quiet cafe in Menlo Park. The engineer kept glancing around before speaking. They're patching Helix weekly, he said. Quick fixes, nothing structural. Are the guardrails still removed? Adrian asked. They replaced them with predictive throttling. Adrian almost smiled. Predictive throttling assumed traffic behavior could be forecasted accurately. It couldn't, not at scale. They think the instability is market variance, he continued. But some of us know it's architectural. And why tell me? Adrian asked. The engineer hesitated. Because when you left, the core documentation clarity disappeared. That was the first honest thing anyone from Neurodyne had admitted. 3 weeks later, Axiom secured its third client, then its fifth, then its first mid-sized enterprise contract. Adrian didn't hire aggressively, he recruited selectively. 2 former distributed systems specialists, 1 infrastructure security engineer, all quiet, all competent. No hype culture, no glass conference rooms, just code. Revenue grew steadily, not explosive, stable, predictable. Ironically, exactly what investors loved, and eventually investors noticed. A mid-tier venture firm requested a meeting. Adrian declined. "We're not raising," he responded. "Why?" the partner asked over Zoom. "Because control matters more than speed." That answer circulated. In Silicon Valley, restraint was unusual.
The tipping point came from Europe. A logistics AI firm previously contracted with Neurodyne began testing Axiom in parallel after repeated latency inconsistencies. Within 30 days, they terminated their Neurodyne contract. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't public, but it was significant. Enterprise contracts weren't just revenue, they were validation. And validation shifted narratives. For the first time, industry forums began mentioning Axiom alongside Neurodyne, not as a startup, as an alternative. In the 17th floor glass office overlooking Palo Alto, Nathan Caldwell reviewed quarterly retention reports. "Why is this name appearing repeatedly?" he asked sharply, tapping the tablet screen. "Axiom Systems." Melissa frowned. "It's a small infrastructure layer competitor." Nathan replied, "Small companies don't take enterprise accounts." Another slide appeared. "Lost contract, EU Logistics AI. Migration, Axiom Systems." Nathan's jaw tightened. "Who's running it?" Melissa scanned the file, then paused. Her eyes lifted slowly. Adrian Walker." Silence filled the room. "That's not possible," Nathan said. "He incorporated 6 months ago." Nathan leaned back in his chair. For the first time since the Helix launch, his confidence flickered. "He doesn't have capital," Nathan muttered. "He doesn't need it," Melissa replied quietly. "If his architecture is cleaner." Nathan's fingers tapped the table once, twice. "Schedule a competitive intelligence review and reach out." "Reach out?" Melissa asked. "Yes," Nathan said coldly. "I want a conversation." That evening, Adrian was reviewing performance dashboards when a notification appeared. Unknown number, Silicon Valley area code. He let it ring. It rang again, then stopped. A minute later, an email arrived from Nathan Caldwell. Subject, "We should talk." Adrian stared at the message for a long moment. Not with anger, not with satisfaction, just calculation. Neurodyne finally understood something. They hadn't eliminated him, they had incubated him. Adrian closed the dashboard calmly. He didn't reply, not yet.
Adrian waited 3 days before replying. His response was short. Friday, 2 p.m., Axiom Systems office, conference room A. No greeting, no acknowledgement of the past, just terms. Friday arrived clear and bright. Axiom's office sat in a modest building in Redwood City. No glass towers, no marble lobby, just clean lines and quiet efficiency. Nathan Caldwell walked in first, still polished, still confident, but not untouchable. Melissa Grant followed behind him, tablet in hand. Adrian met them in the lobby himself. No assistance, no theatrics. "Adrian," Nathan said smoothly, extending a hand. Adrian shook it. CEO Caldwell. A subtle reminder. Titles mattered. They entered conference room A. No panoramic skyline, just a large screen displaying live performance metrics from Axiom's active enterprise clients. Latency stable, cost curves smooth, global clusters balanced. Nathan's eyes flicked to the dashboard, then away. "You've built something impressive." "I built something complete," Adrian replied. Melissa set her tablet on the table. "We're aware that several of our former enterprise partners have transitioned to Axiom." "They evaluated performance," Adrian said calmly. "They made business decisions." Nathan leaned back in his chair. "Let's skip the formalities." A beat. "We'd like to acquire Axiom Systems." Silence. Melissa slid a document across the table. Acquisition proposal. 9 figures. Immediate liquidity. Leadership position within Neurodyne. Full integration, Nathan continued. You'd oversee infrastructure globally, with the resources you deserve this time. This time. Adrian didn't look at the number. Instead, he tapped the screen behind him. A chart appeared. Neurodyne's public performance metrics. Declining retention in 2 regions, rising infrastructure costs, gradual margin compression. You've scaled Helix without structural resilience. Your predictive throttling masks instability, it doesn't solve it. Nathan's jaw tightened slightly. We've stabilized the architecture. No, Adrian replied. You've delayed the consequences. He tapped again. A second chart appeared. Side-by-side enterprise comparison. Axiom versus Neurodyne. Performance delta. Cost efficiency. Failure rate. Melissa's voice was quieter now. You've been tracking us. I'm your primary case study. Nathan almost smiled. No,
I was emotional when I tried to defend Helix. This is mathematics.
Silence filled the room. Then Adrian reached into a slim folder on the table and slid a different document across to them. Nathan glanced down. His expression changed. "What is this?" "A strategic proposal," Adrian said. "For what?" "For Neurodyne." Melissa read faster than Nathan. Her eyes widened slightly. "You want to—" "Yes," Adrian said calmly. "Axiom will not be acquired." He folded his hands. "But we are open to acquiring Neurodyne's infrastructure division." The room went completely still. Nathan laughed once, short, disbelieving. "That's not realistic. Your last funding round came at a premium valuation, but your retention metrics are softening. 2 more quarters of enterprise erosion and your leverage decreases significantly." Nathan's expression hardened. "You don't have that kind of capital." "I don't need it today," Adrian replied. "Markets adjust." A beat. "I'm offering you an exit before they do." Melissa closed the folder slowly. "This is retaliation," she said. Adrian looked at her directly. "No, this is positioning." He stood. "When I presented Helix, I wanted Neurodyne to win." He let that settle. "When you removed me, you removed structural understanding." Nathan stood as well. "You're gambling," he said quietly. Adrian met his gaze. "No, I'm building." Another silence, longer this time. Nathan gathered the acquisition proposal they had brought. "You're making a mistake," he said. Adrian shook his head once. "No, you made it a year ago." Nathan and Melissa walked toward the door. Before exiting, Nathan paused. "If we walk away from this room, you understand what that means." "Yes," Adrian said. "It means we compete." Adrian's voice remained steady. "That's already happening." The door closed. The room went quiet again. Outside, Axiom's engineers continued working, unaware of the conversation that had just shifted the industry's balance. Adrian walked back to the dashboard screen. He watched the global clusters stabilize in real time. Helix had been an idea. Axiom was inevitability. He picked up his phone, opened Nathan's original email, subject, "We should talk." Adrian archived it. Then he returned to work. Because in Silicon Valley, survival isn't about who launches first, it's about who understands what they built.
In Silicon Valley, ideas are currency, but execution is power. If you were in Adrian's position, would you fight back or walk away and start over somewhere else? Sometimes, the greatest betrayal becomes the foundation of the greatest comeback. If you enjoy stories like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications because the next one might be even more ruthless.